marks should not define a student career and a destiny. Unfortunately, it's a fact.
The fact that I had a master's degree just made that a lot easier. It made it easier for me to get a job. Education has, for me, been what has enabled me to travel and do the work.
Why someone should go after 3 years of 4-year degree where you have AI, we have your YouTube, everything is free. In this era, why someone needs to spend $50, $70, $100,000 to do a degree, and what kind of student can make to the top 50 university in the world? Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of Living Pod by Saurabh, where we talk about life, we talk about education, we talk about achievement, and we talk about staying happy by learning, living, and achieving what we are here for. Today, on today's episode, we have a very interesting guest, which I don't know, since till morning. Of course, I have read his name. I know what he been doing. How he been, creating news all across the globe, especially in higher education in Australia. He seems to be a global citizen. Let's layer out and let's bifurcate and try to understand, where he's from, why we are doing together, and what we can learn from each other. On that note, let me introduce today the guest, Jogvan. Did I
That's right, yeah.
did I get it right?
Jogvan, yeah,
Okay.
yes,
So Jogvan Klein.
that's right.
Yeah. Of course, he's a global director for engagement entrepreneurship for a university which is in the top 50, University of Queensland. Queensland doesn't need an introduction. You doesn't need an introduction. So let me introduce myself. I'm Saurabh,
Saurabh, good to
and
meet you.
Likewise. And thank you for be on this podcast. And floor is yours.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on the podcast. I look forward to spending some time getting to know you here as well. Like I said, I'm Jogvan. But let's start with the name.
Yes.
The name is a bit of a challenge. I'm from a very small place called the Faroe Islands. Most people have never heard of the Faroe
I also
Islands.
got to know last night, so I will
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sound
yeah.
pseudo that I knew it.
No, no, no. It's part of the Kingdom of Denmark, but it is its own sort of independent country there. Has its own football team, which is, I guess, the marker of a real proper country.
Especially in Europe.
In Europe, yeah. No, they punch above their weight. The Faroe Islands are, if you imagine you go to Scotland and you try to swim to Iceland,
Okay.
yeah, you're halfway
Let
there.
me imagine that.
Halfway there, you're going to be cold, but you're going to be in the Faroe Islands. So that's where I'm from, and that's where the name comes from. It is interesting because it's pronounced, so there's 18 islands in the Faroes,
Okay.
and it's actually pronounced differently on the different
Okay.
islands. So that's why around the world is a little bit hard to keep.
So my team told me it's Jogvan.
Jogvan.
Then I did my research, it's Jogvan. Morning you correct is Jogvan.
So my mom would call me Jogvan.
Jogvan?
Jogvan. Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's the Faroese version of sort of John or Giovanni, right? So it's a sort of old name. It's kind of old. It's not a very modern name.
Yeah.
It's a bit
I mean,
dark.
see, I have a firm belief that name define personalities.
Right. Okay.
Name, also define. So my daughter, I'm very proud of it. So we keep our daughter's name at Faith.
Yeah.
And because we believe that we need to have an international name.
Yeah.
And a name which have a deep meaning.
Yeah.
Because your name define your personality and it also define your character or attributes.
Yeah.
I might be thinking too much, but one thing I was very clear: I don't want to keep a very Indian heavy name for Faith, because I don't want to be faced through what I have gone through.
Right.
Saurabh,
yeah.
Saurabh. How did you say?
I thought it was Saurabh.
You got it right.
Oh.
You've been visiting India a lot.
Yeah.
You picked the accent.
So yeah.
Back to your story.
No, I agree. My daughter, we actually named her Thordis. Thordis, yeah.
Spell it.
Thordis.
Okay, what does that mean?
So, well, my mother's from Iceland, so I'm half Icelandic. And Thordis is an Icelandic name. It was my grandmother's name, but it literally means the goddess of thunder.
Wow.
Or Thor.
So she brings storms to your life?
Oh, yeah,
all the way?
Yeah,
all the time?
Yeah,
How young is she?
She's 7. Yeah.
So mine is 5.
Yeah.
So probably I can take some parenting tips.
No, yeah. I've got a 10-year-old as well. A boy.
So your experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Lovely. So why you are here in India?
This time?
Yeah.
Well, this time we
Is it your 5th, 10th, 11th? How many times you been here?
Oh, I don't know. I've stopped counting.
So
It's,
you have learned few curses. You know what people are saying behind your back or on your face?
No,
No?
not really. I mean, it depends on where you are in India. They say different things, right?
Okay.
So I can't say that.
But
No.
you seem to be a global citizen, right?
That's right.
So I'm sure you might not understand the language, but you understand the accent and
Yeah.
what the other person is trying to say or what does they mean.
Actually, I think I understand the culture quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the language bit has escaped me a little bit. Although I speak quite a lot of Scandinavian and European languages, the the Asian languages have been very, very difficult for me to learn. It's my second time here this year,
Okay.
and I'm coming back in a couple of months. So I come here fairly
Pretty-
often.
pretty
Yeah,
often.
yeah. I love coming here. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Food or weather or
More food.
chaos?
Food, yeah. The chaos is exciting in small doses, but the food, the people, mainly the people. Yeah, I've got lots of really good friends here. It's always great to be back seeing them. But yeah, the food is an exciting part of the experience of traveling. Actually, more broadly, I quite enjoy.
Do you think traveling and interacting with people have defined into what you are now?
Probably.
Is your academics, education, or traveling? What you rate more, or what you will tell your 7-year young daughter to prioritize on out of these three things: travel, education, and probably
Education has, for me, been what has enabled me to travel and do the work that I do. I mean, travel for the sake of travel is sort of quite wonderful, and I have found it to be very meaningful to do travel the way that I've been doing travel. I've been all over the world in my current job, and I've actually been able to move around the world with my current job. So I started in Denmark. I did my master's degree in Denmark, but having that master's degree made it quite easy for me when my then girlfriend, now wife and mother of my children, decided to move to Australia. The fact that I had a master's degree just made that a lot easier. It made it easier for me to get a job. I did have some previous experience, but the master's degree takes you from the no pile into the maybe pile, and I think that put me in really good contention. And then many years later, when I went to Vietnam, I was the director international at RMIT Vietnam. It was actually a prerequisite. I wouldn't have been able to get the visa to get into the work visa to Vietnam if I didn't have that degree,
master degree.
the master degree.
Very interesting.
So I think having that is really what kickstarted my sort of ability to do this.
Very interesting.
And do it consistently and to consistently come back and build more and more relationships, and that started with the education. So by all means, sort of travel, but at some point you got to find a purpose with it.
No, I'd say we are the privileged and lucky one, wherein we get to travel, and we are doing it for meaningful and purposeness, right? And it's making us be a better and more evolved individual, and by creating an impact for our organization or the overall education industry. You mentioned education. If you have not done your masters, you would have not gone to Vietnam. If you have not done your masters from Denmark, you would have not got this opportunity. What you are into, whether it's RMIT or now Queensland. In this era, where as a young parent, I'm questioning why someone should go after 3 years or 4-year degree, where you have AI, where you have YouTube, everything is free. Even best of the universities have put their courses free or online. And now even with OpenAI, Microsoft, all the tech giants are putting content free. In this era, why someone need to spend $50, $70, $100,000, to do a degree or just spend over a year?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I mean, sort of if you think about it in a very functional way, the information is there and it has always been there.
But now it's been even more easier.
It's more easier, and it's going to get easier.
Now, even if you're lazy, if you put couple of prompt, you will get lots whatever you're looking for.
Yeah, but what's the point, right? What's the point of generating sort of the content? There's a good saying that I picked up out of Denmark the other day as well. I mean, why should I bother reading something that you didn't bother writing?
Oh, interesting.
Like if we're
Good
all
one.
just sort of in this sort of endless loop of
Right.
getting
Someone will
con-
read, then I write.
yeah,
Nothing will get created.
what's the point? What's the actual meaning for, and what's the value of that? And if we look at what you're able to do with education, and I mean education is also about the connections, and it's really about enabling you to do higher order thinking. And I think you would have to be unbelievably disciplined to be able to pick these things up from YouTube. And that's sort of the stuff what the university offers you. The university, it's not just the classroom, it's about all of those additional things.
Can't agree more.
It's about, meeting people and being able to talk sensibly about, the area that you are being educated in. It's about, having life experiences. I think even, I was an international student. I actually came from Denmark to Australia originally as an exchange student. And I was a very good student. I did really well. But
What did you study in masters?
I went to business schools. I did communications.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're good with studies, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was good. I was a top student. I was a mature age student. I had a whole first career. I worked in logistics for years before I went to university. So I was very disciplined. And so it meant when exchange places were allocated, because they're allocated on merit, I was top of the ladder for that. But the first thing that I did, I failed an HR, sort of quite a basic assignment, and I was like, this is an absolute outrage. There must have been some sort of mistake. So I went and spoke to the professor, and she just explained that I had completely misunderstood the formatting. I was like, oh, okay, this is a bit of a learning for me. Is actually how they do it in Australia. It was very different from how they did it in Denmark. So it was.
And which year was this?
2004. So yeah, some time ago.
Yeah.
But it was quite humbling, right? And even I remember my experience. So in Denmark, it's much more of a cohort-based way of
Learning.
the education system,
Which is very much what India is.
Yeah.
It's also very cohort-based learning.
And but even from in primary school, so all of my friends that I have in Denmark I've known since I was 6 years old, because you start when you're 6 and you're with them till you're 15, and then you go for 3 years of high school.
Right.
And in high school, it's all cohort, like you're in the same guys for 3 years. Right. And at uni, it's very cohort based. And you get taken through.
It's a new phase.
Yeah.
You're figuring out.
Absolutely. And one big learning for me, it was interesting, it was quite a few years later when my son went from prep to year 1 that it clicked for me. This is a big cultural piece in Australia, it's not cohorts. It's not so much cohort based, right? So when I was doing 4 different units, I had the realization. Wait a minute, there's no one who is the same in these units. So you have to sort of go out and make the connects differently. But yeah, my realization when my son. So when they moved from between year levels in Australia, they actually mixed up the classes. So oh, this kind of makes sense. This is why Australia.
Yeah, exactly. The diversity is all about, right?
Yeah, and there's also sort of why Australians in some ways are quite good at sort of making new connections. It's hard. If you go to Denmark, it's quite hard to break into friendship because we've all known each other since we were 6 years old, right? So
very, very much like India. Very much. And so I have my friends, who are friends from 25 years now.
Yeah.
I have friends who are like probably 30, 35 years and very thick friends.
Yeah.
It's just that I got lucky and I moved places. I moved from my hometown to Delhi and then traveled and whatnot. And that's why I have different cohorts.
Yeah.
And I believe it's so important to have different cohorts. There will be some friends who you can call at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And there will be some friends who are good to party.
Yeah.
And there are some friends who are like, they will be there wherever you get stuck.
Yeah.
And mostly those relationships have been built when you were in school or in college.
Yeah.
And I've been blessed to have, some friends even as early as, let's say, 5 years old relationship, but then they are like thick and thin.
Yeah. And I'm probably going to reveal that I'm a little bit older than you, but yeah. So my
what I guess we must be same. I'm 84 born. Okay.
I'm in the 70s.
So you're doing good for yourself.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. So my friends I've had for 40 years.
Ah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I just turned 41 last year.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess the oldest relationship apart from my parents and my sibling is probably, I know people, I still in touch, probably when I was 2 or 3, so 37, 38 years.
Yeah.
Not bad. You're making me think.
Yeah. It adds up, right? And
right.
So, gone through a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're saying Denmark and India is very, and this is new, learning for me. You know, Denmark and India got a very similar culture. You know, which is a bit more conservative or probably more into each other. Versus Australia, I'm sure. You know, Australia is absolutely a melting pot, and and now I'm able to understand why, because they mix classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, in that regard, I mean, there's certainly very big differences between India and Denmark as well. But I think it's a key thing as a society, that how that schooling works. And yeah, it was. I just had never. It was a complete blind spot for me until my son did that. I was like, wait a minute, have you always been doing this? I was like,
Yeah, and it's all about, if you go back to life, it's all about how, when you get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
This is when you grow.
Yeah.
And the earlier you get into, the better it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise you get used to a certain kind of loop and comfort zone, and then you're like, and then that becomes unsettling.
That's right. Yeah.
So when did you move to Australia and why?
I first came to Australia in 2004 as an exchange student, and then I returned to Denmark.
And which university you went for exchange student?
Deakin.
Deakin. Okay.
Yeah, I went to Deakin. I went from Aarhus University. Interesting, Deakin and Aarhus are now pretty close partners, but I was the first exchange student to go from Denmark.
So you created that bridge.
That's
you were good.
Yeah, that's it.
You didn't do anything which probably
I didn't break it.
Yeah.
I didn't break the bridge. But I certainly walked over a bridge that others built, and it's. But then I came back, and it's an interesting story actually. I went to hand in my papers to get my credit transferred, and I'd just travelled around Australia, and I was pretty broke, so I needed a job. And then I saw a little notice that they were looking for people working in student counselling, and I applied for it, and I got the job, and I ended up doing that for a couple of years. That was, interesting, because in that role, it was had recruitment elements, so recruiting students, and we did some open days.
And this for Deakin?
Huh?
This is for Deakin?
No, for Aarhus University.
Right.
And those skills were just quite transferable. So when I graduated with my master's, and I then, in this counselling job, an Australian girl came down, she needed some help with some courses, and I needed someone to help us with this open day, and I gave her the help that she needed, and I also recruited her to help out, and then we became really good friends, and now we're married and have 2 kids.
I was coming to it. I was holding myself. Should I? Should I?
No.
Should I tell you that you got your intern or someone you have worked with, and you, in India we say patao phai, you have convinced her, and you became a pair, and then you got married.
So we moved in.
So education and higher education don't only give you a job; it's also give you a good partner.
Give me a good partner. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This can be a thumbnail. If you want to get married, go to Queensland and get your undergrad or postgrad done.
Although it might be a bad thing, my mom isn't loving that I live now in Australia. But we moved in 2007 and originally to Melbourne. So we lived in Melbourne for a long time. I got a job pretty quickly. I worked for La Trobe University.
So it just happened. You didn't choose to be in this higher education, but Deakin, then La Trobe, you mentioned RMIT, and now of course Queensland. So I guess I'm talking to someone who have seen most of universities, not only from outside but also inside.
Yeah. So I think. So the job. So when I arrived in Australia, and I was a recent graduate, and I needed a job, and I was sort of looking around, and I had worked at the university, so it was an obvious one to. I probably didn't think that there was going to be a whole career in it, but then once you're in and you realize what the opportunities are, I think that's a lot of true for quite a lot of us that work in
this the other day, or probably yesterday, I was talking to someone, and we're talking about this industry as a whole. I feel I'm so privileged and so fortunate. So I was a banker before this. And I'm pretty okay, in it. But there was some like upsell, cross sell. There were some results which wasn't in your hand. And you are going and committing your clients. But that I'm just a piece in that overall puzzle,
Sure,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
here you can actually sell without any guilt,
Yep.
because you're not actually selling, you're consulting, and then also you are giving them information,
Yeah.
and we are just a facilitator.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, this is how I define myself.
Yeah.
Would love to know your view on this.
No, I think that's true, and I think education, it's such a powerful, life-changing thing, and I think, if you believe in education, which I think most of us that work
In India, definitely we all believe in education.
Yeah.
And I remember, my question is still not fully answered.
Yeah.
That is education still needed, and spending $100,000 in this era
Yeah.
when you have, I mean, at least in my case,
Yeah.
I'm what I studied. I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I studied economics honors, finance and marketing.
Yeah.
But now, of course, I'm running a business where all the
Yeah.
things are getting touch,
Yeah.
but not like economics, not like a marketer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So coming back to the same question, is spending $100,000, or a year for 18 months, is it still worth it?
I definitely believe so. Right? I think the functional skills of being able to do a spreadsheet or make a PowerPoint presentation look good. Those are sort of skills that you can pick up from YouTube or Instagram or somewhere. But the sort of
The
people
holistic
skills,
experience, the connections.
the people skills and being able to sort of put yourself out there, put yourself on a spot to speak in front of a lot of people on a consistent basis. Having to work together in complicated teams, I mean, that's something that...
I mean, your foundation get laid when you are in school or in your masters, when you are doing those cohorts, programs, projects. But again, where I'm coming from, in India, and a bit of India quite well.
Yeah.
Most of the undergrad institution or postgrad institution, they sell or they pitch basis placements
Yeah.
versus international students or international universities, wherein they don't talk about placements.
No.
Of course, now we all talking about employability and we get into that.
Yeah.
But in India, it's all about what was the placement of the last batch.
Yeah.
That will define whether that college will have 100% seats full,
Yeah.
or probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
In international markets, especially Australia, you have career services, you have engagement and everything, but you don't pitch or sell your university or your courses basis what kind of job or for how much of job you're gonna get after this course or after studying from Queen Mary or Queensland. Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't, and I think I think it's like quite a uniquely Indian.
It's very Indian.
To talk about the placement and.
End of the day, we are ROI driven. We want to spend highest on education, but then we also expect that if I spend $1,500, I should get a job, if not more, at least $1,500 the next year itself. If not, then initially people feel it isn't a success outcome.
Yeah.
Or successful outcome.
Sure. I mean,
you have observed this, right? You have noticed this, right? You've been told this.
Yeah. People want, and don't I get that? I mean, we all want nice paying jobs, and we would like them sooner rather than later.
Right.
So that's a completely understandable.
This is not the case in Vietnam, Denmark.
No. I mean, Denmark. It's an interesting thing in Denmark. Going to university is much more of a sort of self-realizing project. It's around making sure that you can become the best version of you, that you can basically learn to contribute to society, that you can learn to think in a higher order, so that you can learn to become an active participant in democracy. It's about learning to be, so all of these sort of civic duties
Discipline,
connected to it. So it's about yourself and your own journey.
But for that, do you need a degree? I mean, this is like a self transformation, evolvement, which also happen over a period of time.
Yeah.
Of course, not particularly. I mean, is it right to say that education give you a bridge, a platform, due to which you get to serendipity strikes and you get to meet people, make friends with others, and then you become the average of your friends or your cohorts, and that's why it's very important to go to the best of the universities, because they have attracted best of the cream.
That's right.
Because I have few friends, who probably have dropped out, and they're doing 10x not only income, but also the day they are transforming.
Yeah.
They're not gone to any formal schools.
No. I mean, I think university is not for everyone. It's not the right choice for everyone. And I think
Glad you said that.
Even the vocational education, I mean, for many, that's really what will give them the sort of value in their life, and what will give. I mean, if you look at it in Australia, the TAFEs, we have really fantastic TAFEs in Australia. Where students get much sort of hands-on learning. It's smaller,
vocational,
smaller
on the ground,
right? With apprenticeships. It depends on who you are and what you want and to get out of it. So for many, I would suggest that's actually a better.
So what is your ICP? How you target students, and what kind of student can make to the top 50 university in the world called Queensland, based out of Brisbane, right? And you have such a great outcome, and you have best of the alumni is doing so well across industries. So what kind of students should target Queensland, and what kind of student you look for?
Yeah, I mean the university is we have high entry standards, so I guess there is a sort of sorting mechanism there that we do look for academically very strong students. Students who have shown that they have that capability in their previous studies, whether it's in their undergraduate into masters or in their schools. But also, we really do look for students who are able to, not just be sort of in the classroom, but are able to engage in the extracurricular activities of the university, are the proactive type of student who is able to then also be working with a career center. I think it's probably back to your point around the placement. The language sounds a bit funny to the Australian ear or to the Danish ear. It seems like someone placed you. You are a
some object. Yeah, they place you.
You're an object being placed somewhere. You're an inactive player in that. And I think where I'm coming from in Denmark, and same in Australia, right? It's you have to reach out, and particularly when you get to the university level. It's up to you. Like this is where you've gone from being a child to you are now actually an adult who is expected to
take initiatives and take actions.
We have fantastic careers at services available to students, to all students, domestic and international. We have great sort of language support programs embedded within our faculties. They are for domestic and for international students because of the way that each profession has its own language. That's why we have it within the faculties. So, our business faculty, there's a particular kind of way that you communicate. And there's a particular kind of way that I would have loved, this is the resource support that I needed to pass the HR subject. These are the things that we have available, and we really want the students who are able to do that. Because those are the students who then, like you said, push each other, and they're the ones who sort of the sum total of the group then gets better. So there's no doubt. I mean, the university offers.
But why we are still stuck with high standards and academically strong? Someone who have proven themselves on a particular day, they have learned something, and they've proven something due to which, or they mugged them and throw out something and they got good marks. Due to which, in a way they got lucky. Of course, they have worked for it, but in a way they got lucky, and that give them a advantage. They have worked for it, they deserve it. But then it give someone advantage. Okay, now I am a 90 percentile, or 100 percentile, and now I will only be staying and interacting with people who have also done the same.
Sure.
I was decently good in numbers, in studies, right? If I top my school, whatnot. But then I realized that, probably now things have evolved, but marks should not define a student career and a destiny. Unfortunately, it's a fact. At least in India.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long. We can get into a long philosophical discussion around why
we're into education, right?
Yeah. I mean, we
can get away with talking very deep and philosophical, and then back to education.
That's right, but in effect, I guess the universities are structured around principles that were sort of developed in by and large in Europe in the Middle Ages. So around faculties and
but interestingly, Denmark, as you mentioned, Australia, you mentioned, who have defined these kind of structures, they have evolved. You know, but most of the Asian countries, you know, if I talk about India, India is evolving like anything, right? You know it well. But still, you know, if you go to tier 2, tier 3, you know, if you don't score marks, you are looked down upon by your parents, own parents.
Yeah.
And it's not right for student confidence, everything.
No, it's actually it's a really interesting conundrum, right? So there are many different ways that you would be able to get to the University of Queensland. The most direct one we'll talk about, you know, how, you know, what the
That's a structured path. You know, if you get good marks,
Yep.
you know, your chances will be higher. And then of course there are other criteria. Back to you.
That's right. I mean, in some ways, like we, for example, we enforce sort of prerequisite subjects. So, you know, if you want to come and study, you know, advanced finance with us, you have to have done maths methods first, because you will simply fail. Like if you don't have math skills to those,
makes sense.
Then we don't want you to have a bad experience. And so we need students who have that level. There are many different ways that you can get to that level. Of course,
and different course require different things.
Yeah, and one concept that we of course talk about an awful lot in Australia is around pathways. There are many different paths that will take you to where you need to go. You know, for some, you know,
it can be straightforward. Yeah,
it can be straightforward. For some, university was not in their path.
I guess, you know, one thing which we share common. I also went to Nottingham on my exchange program, and that's how I got into this industry.
Yeah. So there you go. So there's many different ways. So, you know, we, for example, have students who, you know, they might start in one program and then they move to another program. We have, you know, many different sort of variations of getting to where you need to get to. Many universities even offer like diploma programs, for example. In Australia, they're talked about with sort of less stigma more broadly, right? So it's a completely common thing that you want to start in a diploma program and then go into a bachelor's program, for example. That's very common.
Right.
Or you use an arts degree to then jump into a double degree. It's something that the careers counsellors at the schools are really very observant about. And even look, we have these dual sector universities in Australia. Like I said, I worked for RMIT. RMIT is one. I worked for Swinburne as well for a while. Also
Which university did you leave?
Which one I haven't worked at?
Yeah.
No. I'm still working my way through the list. But you know, opportunities come up, and it's if it looks interesting, you go for it. But those dual sector, I mean, they have. So you start within the TAFE structure, and then you can sort of move through it, and you know, concepts of lifelong learning. It doesn't necessarily have to be these structures.
Exactly. And coming back to another question, why should a student choose Queensland over any other Group 8 or Australian university or global university?
Well, Queensland is in a really quite enviable position. The state of Queensland, I think the
Brisbane, the Gold Coast is.
It's beautiful, right? It's the weather is, you know, great one day, perfect the next, they say, and it's certainly this time of year. My wife was just sending me photos of the kids that are down at the university pool. It's beautiful. It's a really comfortable place to live. The weather is really comfortable. Brisbane itself is a really growing. It's the fastest growing capital city. I mean, I moved from Melbourne to go there. And it becomes a little bit of a sort of trope at the moment. That
when did you move to Brisbane?
I moved in 2023. Yeah, so 2.5 years.
So another fun fact or anecdote. So I went to my honeymoon cum business trip, and my first arrival was Brisbane.
Right.
And that was my first international trip with my wife.
I'm sure she was super excited that her honeymoon was a honeymoon cum business trip.
I was starting off my university living. I was kicked off for my last startup.
Right.
So lack of money.
Yeah, right.
You know, and you know, it was like almost 2 years of a marriage. I needed to take her to, you know, for my honeymoon. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, you know, so we started with Brisbane, then we went to Sydney, Melbourne. But very fond memories. Gold Coast, Brisbane.
It's beautiful.
And people are so warm.
Yeah.
And I mean, the best part, you start your day at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you start earlier. You really do that. I mean, the university, if you go back to that, I mean, Brisbane is growing fast. It's there's so many of us that are moving there, not just from overseas, but in
Even after Olympic and Commonwealth, everything's happening there.
Yeah. So with the Olympics in 2032 on the horizon, I think there's a lot of energy in the city. There's a lot of infrastructure being built, stadiums, but also airport redevelopments, and so it feels like a play.
You're the right place.
It's on the up.
You're thin and thick of action. You're the right place.
I think so. Yeah. It's
so city then.
The city, but also the state. I mean, it's a really large state. So you have a look at the size of the state of Queensland. I mean, we've got massive natural wonders like the Great Barrier Reef and the outback, and it's one thing that I enjoy is sort of just driving up the coast or down the coast.
It's out of the world. Yeah.
It is. It's wonderful. I'm taking the children, and
you have ocean, you have mountain, and it's a different world.
It is.
I'm gone back to 12 years back.
Yeah.
I need to revisit Brisbane. But
and we've got it's actually quite easy to get around. One thing that the state government did, which was quite innovative, I think, is that they've changed so public transport is only 50 cents.
Wow.
You can go to the Gold Coast for 50 cents. So you go to the Sunshine Coast on a train. So public transport in
I didn't know that.
Queensland is 50
cents. I need to revisit.
Yeah. And we've
I guess that's cheaper than that is cheaper than India.
Yeah.
Or at par or cheaper probably.
And that's trains, it's the boats,
the boats.
Buses,
Yeah. There are lots of ferries, right?
So we've got a new sort of bus metro system that goes straight to the university, and it's a beautiful campus, and I think the whenever we're promoting the campus, we always know if they come and visit us, then we know it's almost it's a done deal. And actually, that was how I got recruited. I was in Melbourne during sort of the COVID lockdown, and we managed to get to Brisbane. So my in-laws live in Brisbane. We managed to get out in between a few lockdowns, and I work because the universities we all share internet, so I could work at the different campuses. And one day I was working out of UQ, just sitting there in the public space, and it was just stunning. It was a beautiful day, like a Queensland day where it's blue skies. And I took the ferry. We have a ferry that takes us into the city, and I took that. The river was completely glass mirror, and we had all these cockatoos flying over. I was like, "This is."
You should be probably working with Queensland Tourism. Along with education.
Yeah. I mean,
you almost got me there. I'm like, when I'm getting out, I'm booking a ticket and going back again.
I mean, it is wonderful, and I think I haven't even talked about really the university. The university is an absolute sort of powerhouse university. If you look at the impact that the university has in Australia, but also globally, it is quite remarkable, and it's a real privilege to be able to.
So we have one campus downtown, or probably city center, which is CBD.
Well, our campus we have a whole. It's called St. Lucia, it's a sort of short ride out of the CBD. That's our main campus. So
you have one building right in the downtown.
We do have a couple of buildings.
Couple of courses been taught there.
Yeah, so our MBA program.
Exactly.
Executives are taught right in the heart of the city.
Because I'm into accommodations, I still remember lots of students asking for that campus and accommodation around that.
Yeah. But most of them will be studying at St. Lucia.
Yeah, that's I guess that's very big.
Yeah, it's very big.
How do you call in acres, or how do you?
I wouldn't even know. It's large. The university, we've got just around 700 buildings across the state. I think we have something like 27 sites, including the research stations. I mean, the university.
What is the total strength of Queensland from a student point of view?
The university?
Yeah.
We're very broad. So this is an interesting part. So it's in our constitution to be a university for the state of Queensland. And we're the only group of 8 universities, Sandstone University in Queensland. Yeah. So that means that we have this sort of commitment to teaching very broadly. So, you know how QS do the subject rankings? I think they do 54 different subjects, and UQ is ranked in 50.
Wow.
So we have lots of strength. And I think we've got 20 in the top 50 subject areas. Even languages. We teach 10 different languages still. We teach in agricultural sciences. We have a big campus which is about 80 kilometers outside of Brisbane, in a place called Gatton, which teach veterinary sciences and agricultural sciences.
Agriculture, farming, and dairy.
Depending on what rank. I think we're ranked in the sort of top 2 or 3 in the world for that. Someone told me.
Do you think ranking is the right parameter for a student to shortlist accommodation, shortlist a degree?
I mean, it's a sort of heuristic shorthand, right? You can go sort of sort things out and go, oh, that's what that means.
It gives you a filter.
Yeah.
It's a good way to filter out.
Exactly. But I think it's a good point. I mean, for your average student, if the rankings is around how many quotations or how many citations, do the academics have, you've got to work out whether that's the thing that is the right metric for you. But I guess the reality is it kind of does matter for employers sometimes. So, you're able to demonstrate.
It's like a filtration. And I understand. I mean, I come from 2 schools of thought. One, I question everything. And then I'm like, it's easier to question. If it's happening, there's a reason. Let me go back. There are thousands of universities. If I'm a student, I'm a parent, where should I start from? Right? Ranking is a good way. Right? And then also at time, it's like, when a student want to take an education loan in India, the good thing is any institution who is willing to pay, thousands of dollars and pound to a student to study in a particular university, that means they have done their due diligence. Don't bother. But don't be lazy, because ranking should not be the only way out. Because let's say if I want to learn a new course, where probably there's a new age university which is coming up, right? You should not then only go for ranking. Let's say if you want to do cybersecurity or you want to do gamings, if we talk about gaming 5 years back, there will be hardly universities who were teaching that course. So only filtering on ranking probably is not the holistic way to shortlist, as you mentioned. But yes, it's easy to question. There's a system, there's a structure. Going back to the same thing that you mentioned average student. You mentioned that probably Queensland attract academically strong, students because you need to maintain that standard. You need to maintain that cohort, and wherein the kind of faculty you have, the kind of, teaching methodologies and curriculum you want to teach, you need to have a certain kind of students who can absorb it. Otherwise, it will not work for them.
That's right. And I think you're absolutely right. I think the rankings are all.
It's a good way to start.
It's a sort of simplification, right? It's a very much sort of simplifying things. Actually, there's one of the rankings that we normally sort of cite quite a bit because it looks specifically at what's called QUILT. So we have these quality indicators in learning and teaching in Australia, which is a government run sort of system of measuring that. And that one was, so the Australian Financial Review, came up with a ranking of Australian universities that looks at many of the same sort of global indicators, like the QS and Times Higher and everyone is looking at. But because globally there isn't this sort of QUILT system, so you can't sort of compare apples and apples. But once they added in the quality indicators in learning and teaching on top of the other parameters around research strength and things, UQ came up number 1 2 years in a row now. So it's one thing that
I guess I'll give you a full toss. You got it out of the park.
That's right.
The guys is not paid. You have not. There's a script, but I don't follow that. But then there's a merit to it.
There is, and so that's a bit like with the rankings is you got to know which ones and what they mean and what it all sort of matters. And I think there's lots of parts of the sort of coming to a university or moving to a different country where you go,
right?
Well, what does it all mean?
It's a good parameter. It's a safe parameter. It's like if you want to invest in the stock market, if there are benchmark indices in the stock, you know that the stock is qualifying lots of indicators and metrics. So it's a good way to start with.
But all the other things, destination, what do you think this is a place that, would you be able to, if you want to have a career there, is it a place where there are opportunities? These are all things that matters. Can you eat the food?
You want to go deeper into what kind of courses, Queensland Queensland been teaching, and also any new course you have introduced, because education is evolving like knots.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, every 3 months, in fact, new course is coming up.
Yeah.
AI is changing so fast.
Yeah.
New models coming in, advanced computing.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone talk about cybersecurity now.
Yeah.
Then there is so much of real estate things happening.
Yeah.
In every city, like you mentioned, Brisbane. There's so much of infrastructure happening.
Yeah.
So there are need for architecture. There are need architects. There are needs for all the professions. So how you are coping up and matching or leading it. So coming back to courses. Any new course you have launched, or how are you coping with the demanding corporate life and the way things are changing. Like every 3 months a new model is coming in AI, like new model,
Yeah.
right? And every model, new model comes, and the SAMs and Nadelas or the words they say that my last model was hilarious.
Yeah.
So in that fast changing environment, wherein everything changes so fast, and it's very demanding.
Yeah.
How is Queensland been coping up and introducing new courses or curriculums?
It's a good question, and I think our first response to that is we are actually looking at how do we build in AI into our existing coursework. So I think the AI is going to be, already is, but it's got to be everything in every discipline. So it's around how do you leverage these new, incredibly powerful tools in your discipline areas. So we have sort of AI subjects in courses, and we have so we're not sort of at the moment developing our bachelor of just sort of AI in particular. We have AI built into
That's
other
interesting.
courses.
I've not heard this from any.
Yeah. Well, we have. Sorry, I should say we do have AI courses. So computer sciences, and we do specializations. So I think that's the broad bit of it. I do remember, a few years ago, all the hype was about 3D printing, and some universities rushed to do a master of 3D printing or blockchain.
Blockchain,
in effect, these are sort of niche areas, and we've more broadly looking at how do we then make this part of the curriculum across everything that we do. We've been very fortunate. We have in Professor Jason Lodge, we have one of the world's leading experts in AI in curriculum. And he's been a leader for many years. And as sort of AI, it seems to have only sort of the last 18 months or so, it's just really taken off. Then looking at, how do we include this into the curriculum? But also, how do we then make sure that we test our students and we test their capabilities? Their capabilities to understand and know the subject matter. Anyone can sort of I've seen the Google Gemini now has the homework button. And I think I'm just worried when my son finds it, he's going to press that and
I'm done.
That's it, done. But how do you then make sure that you are able to test that your students really do genuinely understand what they're being asked to do? So, all of our subjects will have elements of authentic assessment where you've got to actually be able to demonstrate that you understand what you've been taught. So that's sort of our...
But then, coming out of my curiosity, with someone who's global citizen, who have seen different education systems. It's like if we have internet, if we have a computer, if we say that, I have a computer, and I know it's a fact now that if I'm typing rather than writing, even the word have adopted typing than handwritten letters, or of course it still got its charm. It's authentic. Similarly, now everyone's using AI. There were time when so I got lucky again, fortunate, wherein I did my AI leadership program from ISB, one of the best institutes in India, around 18-20 months back. And since then I've been itching, and I've been building AI tools, wherein we've been ahead of the industry. But then we know that people are not absorbing it, because people are still in that mode, it's a fad, or it's will really be adopted. Similarly, you mentioned about Bachelor of AI. When and how university decide that we need to now go deep into blockchain or 3D printing or it's just a buzzword ignore,
Yeah.
because you can't just absorb everything, anything,
No.
right? And but the thing is, if you don't, and your peer group is offering something which is buzzy and people are talking about, like cybersecurity for that matter,
Which we do
right?
offer, yeah.
So what is that point when you decide, okay, it's for real, and we need to adapt, integrate, and absorb it or build it?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we know it's for real, that AI is for real.
Yeah, you've all been using it.
On 3D printing is for real. So, I mean, on a technical level, we have a DVC academic who leads our academic ventures across how it gets developed in the faculties. So we have a sort of a structure that looks at, right, what are the sort of emerging areas gets developed in the faculties. We look at, do we think there are opportunities for those particular areas to develop full programs, or do we want to develop modules or specializations or majors? So that's always happening. There's a forever
There's R&D is happening, and Queensland, of course, rank very high on R&D, and even any institution in the top 50, it's because there's R&D.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in India, we still spend, and I'm also a founder of a company wherein R&D seems the last thing that, we allocate 2%, not even 5%, 2% to R&D. We want to be innovative. We want to be, ahead of the curve, but we don't want to invest in R&D. Because that's very Indian culture. That seems like a cost, not revenue.
But I think, I mean, it's a bit to your point around so AI as a sort of a tool. I mean, we as an organization, look at sort of separate from the teaching bit, but as an actual organization, we are encouraged to embrace AI, to play with AI, to see what the kind of tools that we can build that can help us. And a bit like you, I've been tinkering with it a lot. I love creating my own little custom GPTs. I've been really getting into the Notebook LM, creating myself little sort of 20-minute podcasts about a particular area. Recently, I got myself interested in understanding the very specific journey that an international student in the UK takes when they need to change between universities. And people were talking about it. I was like, I actually don't think I understand this particularly well. Just went into Notebook LM.
And this is the beauty about now, you can't be lazy. No. And you have no reason to say, I don't know, because no one told me or taught me.
Exactly.
You have a phone, you can even speak gibberish. Funny point. So at time I speak in Hindi. My GPT pick is in Urdu. So now probably they are hinting me that I need to learn Urdu.
Right.
Now you need to be a voracious learner. If you're not, then you're just
and learner and builder, right? You can. I think you see this as a problem-solving thing. So. I did a thing with my daughter, who's 7. This is one of my parenting tips. Which is like many little kids. She's a little bit hard to get out of the door in the morning, and she likes to sort of sit around, do other things, and getting ready. So I sat her down, like, well, how can we make this more fun? And just her and I together, we developed a little web app. And she named it Goey Goey Go Go, but it's not a great catchy title. But we sort of created like little tasks: brush your teeth, put your shoes on, get your bag ready, get in your uniform, all these things, and then she times it, and then she presses the button, and it's a race against her record. And then at the end of it, I gamified it, and at the end of it, there's a reward. It gives her a joke, a fun joke.
Very interesting.
It took us, took an hour little project.
What will happen to a child in a child who needs to go out, be in sun, don't get into technology, not get a phone? Do you think now those days will be for real? Because again, it's a manic, right? I mean, as a parent, and all credit to my wife, we have not given her phones. We are not giving her TVs. It's hard work for her. But then due to which she's asking more. She's playing and running around and messing around more. But then we want to do that. But when I hear you, I'm like, am I ancient? I'm learning AI, but should I give exposure to my kid who's at 5 to a tool which is not future reality? It's like, sorry, I'm sharing too much of my personal anecdotes, but so in my times, if you don't learn English, you're not good in, you're not talented or skilled. Of course, now we give more weightage to, at least we are giving more weightage to vernacular language and Hindi as a language, because that's a thinking language, right? And we are okay not to be judged that, oh, my daughter is not speaking good English. This is not her mother tongue, and I'm absolutely fine with it, right? But due to which she's thinking and she's questioning, because it's a natural language, right? But I know, that people will judge her, and people will also treat her that, oh, she doesn't know English and probably she not have a frequent in English accent, and probably she will not get some opportunities in class to speak or to act in a stage or a play. Similarly, now we know that AI is changing the world. It's already changed. Should we adopt AI in her learning as early as now, or should we wait?
Oh, God, very very personal decision. I think for me, I always liked sort of buildings. I love playing with Lego when I was a kid. Sort of building and creating little things. And
you learn the best when you are building and creating.
I think so, and I think so the way that I have approached the sort of introducing my kids to sort of AI
And tech, right.
has been around some of the building tools. So something like I've been using Lovable, which is
it's actually lovable.
it's very lovable, right? So showing kids that they can build stuff with this. You're not just a sort of passive,
Interesting.
This isn't meant to be a shortcut for you. This isn't meant to be, just a waste of
You need to think.
It's about creative, and I think that's this little project that we did. It's about thinking about this the abstraction of it is that you can use this as sort of virtual Lego blocks effectively to create something that solves a problem for you. One thing I did on Lovable as well, which was again just because I like experimenting with it. I went through and I found again there's a custom GPT called Consensus, which is in ChatGPT, finds the academic consensus on a consensus in a particular area. I then found what's the consensus around how do you best treat jet lag, and
Walk barefoot on the ground.
no, yeah, this is all sorts of things that's around. It's mainly sort of light and time, and it's about
Body clock.
and setting it, and there's even like melatonin can play a factor apparently. So it gave me all the academic articles. I then sort of went into Lovable and said I need to create an app where I need to minimize my my jet lag because I do travel a lot, but it has to be based on the science. And it's like, here's the science, and it created this thing, and I can use it. This is quite remarkable. It tells me, I'll leave Brisbane at this time, and I'll arrive in New Delhi.
It gives you a playbook,
and it's
as per your body clock and absolutely. I guess now it's a time for super personalization. It's even hyper personalization that you can personalize it so well. You can get to know about your body, your culture, your way, the way of you think. It's out there. You just can't be lazy, and as you mentioned, you need to play around, right? And I was smirking because I know my team is here. So I tell them that I don't get jet lag, or I'm not rich enough to get jet lag.
Right.
And I say that jet lag is a very very like it's a playbook of and a phenomenon of super rich, but it's for real. And especially when you're staying in Australia.
So I'll tell you what. If you fly from, like I did a few years ago, fly from Australia all the way to Iceland.
How long?
Oh gosh, it took
22.
Yeah, more. Well, we stopped in London for a day and then, or 2 days.
That is okay.
Yeah, but it's
But yeah, even
you
Australia
go-
to London is what 22 hours.
Yeah, it depends on how you go. I mean, you can fly. So last time I went, I did the long flight from Perth. So it's a 17-hour direct flight from Perth to London, but it's about 5 hours to get to Perth.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's uncomfortable.
It's far.
And it's all at that time. So this was for Christmas, and you go from summer to winter, and the days are very short in Iceland.
And then this is the beauty about and beauty and challenge. You know, when people see our life, you know, and most of my friends, especially in industry, they're like, okay, where are you, Mr. Arora? In Barcelona or in New York or in San Diego? I'm like, yes, we've been traveling, but we are traveling for work, and most of my travel is Uber, phone,
Yeah.
couple of clicks, you know, meetings and back.
Yeah.
You know, and it seems it's a great life, and I'm not even for your top thing. I want to exchange it, but it's hard work.
It is.
It's just not travel.
Yeah, it is. It is hard work. It definitely is. Yeah.
You mentioned AI.
Yeah.
You know, what's your view on AI in education? Especially in AI in higher education. How it gonna change recruitment, assessments, you know, compliance, you know, application processes. You know, what's your view on that?
Oh, I think it's going to change
Drastically.
everything. Yeah, I think it's.
Give your let's say next 12 months, next 5 years. You know, prediction.
Prediction.
After 5 years, probably we can show the you were all wrong.
You're totally wrong. Yeah. Well, I think AI. We'll have it built in to everything that we do, right? So in every discipline area that we teach, there will be elements of AI. I think, and it'll be around teaching sort of ethical use of AI. I mean, part of me, I'm also. I'm not sort of completely naive or blind to, I guess, the risk, like the impact on our children. So my son, for example, he's very good at writing poetry. It's a sort of curious skill for a sort of 10-year-old
10-year-old,
boy.
yeah.
But he loves writing poetry, and some of it's really good, and I'm really sort of proud of him when he does it. And he was sort of reading some out to some family members, and some just went, "Oh, that's just AI." I could tell that his light just went down a little bit.
Yeah. It's discouraging and yeah.
So I think the I guess it gets back to what it changed.
Authenticity is now being questioned.
Yeah.
And rightly so, because 10 of 9 will be using it, and they're like, oh no, we are not using.
Yeah.
And like we know, you know. So I am very I'm very high on or probably big on LinkedIn and social media.
Yeah.
You know, and people say it's not your writing. I'm like, of course not. I'm not a grammar Nazi. You know, but it's my thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, now it's about thinking, vision. You know, and AI and human need to be together.
Yeah.
That's why you do more and better and more engaging content.
Yeah.
You know, and which is also making people, the person, think beyond probably they will otherwise think.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that. I mean, I am on LinkedIn as well, and I'm very particular about never using AI. I never do it for that post, because I don't. There is an element of that sort of
Authenticity,
authenticity in that, and I think that, I mean, as well, when you look at sort of student recruitment journeys and how we're talking to students. I mean, we're here in, you know, there's about 10 of us here. It's because we actually want people to talk to people.
Yes. I hope this connection should not vanish. Otherwise, it will be a boring word.
Yeah, it would. And I think there are definitely sort of functional bits of that sort of journey that absolutely will sort of embrace AI and automation, machine learning, and things like that. Just to make sure that, you know, sitting around waiting for paperwork for months and months is a bit boring. I mean, that's the stuff that we can speed up. You know, around the offers and assessment and those kinds of things. So those are absolutely ripe for some of the automation. We already do quite a bit. You know, when instead of sort of waiting, we can do sort of bulk processing. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But you know, if we permeate every course that we teach, it will permeate, you know, how we live. I mean, it's
very funny to, you know, see how English literature been taught by AI.
Yeah.
You know, because the essence will be lost. I don't know.
No, and the sort of originality. I mean, but it is
because the analogy you mentioned, it's I would literally think in that lines that you know what? Even if you're authentic, someone will say, "Oh, it's AI," and you're like, "Leave it."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like art. What's the role of art in this? And I think when you hear sort of AI music.
So my prediction is probably sports will not be replaced by AI, but I don't know. You know, probably robots will be playing against human, or human will be playing against robots, right?
Yeah.
So my thesis was that, okay, most of the software will be replaced or probably been challenged by AI.
Yep.
Hardware or like your QSR,
Mm-hmm.
your restaurant, they will not be, and they were the first one to be replicated. You know, I was in Adelaide, you know, and the robot coming in and giving you your order,
Yeah.
and it was like, it was interesting, but it was also a bit scary.
Yeah.
You know, and was in San Diego, and I sat in that Viano, driverless car,
Yeah.
you know, and I was so excited. I just sat and I'm like, oh, I was so trusting that driverless car.
Yeah.
Someone after 2 days told me, "Didn't you get scared?" I'm like, "Not at all." And I'm like, "Yeah, that was scary."
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but interesting.
Yeah.
So AI in education.
Yeah, I'm probably quite optimistic about it. I think, I mean, education has been through a lot of these sort of big changes. I mean, I think giving educated people more powerful tools is sort of inherently quite a good thing. It does require a lot, though. I mean, I think so there's all these other things. One thing is around the technology. It's very easy to be really fascinated by the technology. Going like, I think we all remember the first time we sort of went into ChatGPT or DALL-E and all that. Like, it was like, oh my God, this is like almost like magic. But it's then going like within an organization, for example. I mean, I lead a very large team, and there are complexities. I mean, it's a very large, but also a very sort of global, international team from people from all over the world, and people have sort of have had to sort of go through the journey. And like in the beginning, it felt like cheating. Like
it's like exactly. Yeah.
And
Totally
it's like no, you're actually we're encouraging you to use these tools, but just be smart about it.
And be disclaimer about it.
Yeah, but if you're going to use it to sort of write an email, like Apple have it built straight into the OS now. If you're going to use it, I mean, don't send me like a 10,000 word email.
I know you have a tool, but that doesn't mean we have time.
I'm not impressed by that.
I mean, the funny part, someone is writing 10,000 words. The other person is summarizing in 10 words, and then the other person is replying in 2 words.
So what's the actual meaning? What's the actual value in these interactions? And I think that's, I mean, if you boil it down, I mean, what's the actual value? What's the actual, how is it able to add value to some of the professions that we train people to? We train doctors, we train nurses, we train engineers, we train business people, we train vets and dentists, and and each one of them will have some sort of a benefit from AI.
Yeah, absolutely. True. Absolutely. Being a global citizen, what's your view on global mobility? Because I have a very, very strong view on global mobility. We believe that now it's phase 3. Wherein there were time when the either you need to be very good in your studies and then you get scholarships, or you need to have lots of money, then you can go abroad and afford it. Then it became, there was a time when, if you're okay in studies and you have financial accessibility through banks or whatnot, you still go, right? But then that's where, when the market expanded, some few bad actors, or probably, immigration education got merged. There were people who were like told that, oh, you want to go abroad, you want to go to work and earn more. Why don't you take an education route? And then there were time when immigration being misused for education and vice versa. Now I believe people have realized. Governments have realized. I mean, government have also, like Australia, have gone through their circle. Right now, it's structured immigration or structured, way. So what is Queensland view on the next phase of global mobility? What is your view as a global citizen? You treat yourself as a global citizen? Or you still believe that we call Danish, right?
Well,
Denmark is Danish?
Danish, yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
Or they still you believe you're not Danish and
Yeah.
I mean, so I belong more to global citizen,
Yeah,
but I know if I say, oh, I'm not Indian,
yeah,
there
yeah,
will be backlash,
yeah, 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 yeah,
But deep inside me, I'm very clear that, I mean, I'm a product of India,
yeah.
but I got fortunate to get, opportunity to think like global citizen, due to which I got an edge,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I want to build on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, listen, I think I've actually always, because I was from the Faroe Islands. I was born in the Faroe Islands. My name is Faroese. We spoke Faroese at home, or Icelandic, even when I lived in Denmark. So there was a sort of an othering there. Right? Like I was Danish for all intents and purposes, and I can sort of pass for it. But often when I go, for example, to sort of the Danish club that we have in Brisbane, or the one that we had in Melbourne, people, when they hear my name, like, no, you're not Danish. And I'm like, well, I don't have a passport. And I think I've always been really comfortable with travel. I've always been really comfortable in different cultures and with different people. And I've sort of had the opportunity, like I said, I mean, the education has given me a lot of these opportunities, both my own education, but also working in education. So my sort of personal view on that is, I think there are lots of really interesting opportunities sort of globally now for anyone who wants to work or travel and or become global citizens. Yes, you're right. I mean, there's been this sort of conflation of migration and education, and yes, there's been sort of bad actors who have been using it, and certainly Australia, we probably didn't help ourselves when a few years back to sort of open up for the work rights. So in effect, the student visa route got conflated with a sort of a vocational one or a professional, and it's. So we had lots of people who came to Australia because that was the rules. They just had to have an enrollment and then they could work. I completely understand that would be attractive to a lot of people, but it just wasn't the intent. I think
Into the government.
it was probably the intent of exactly solving a particular problem at the time, but I think sort of more broadly, that's not what Australian sort of society is expecting of its universities. But I mean, that being said, I mean, I think that the current system now, where if you're just able to demonstrate that you genuinely are a student, you can come to Australia and you can say, like, actually, my intent is I want to establish my professional life here, and look where that takes me.
Right.
I mean, you need to make sure that you have backup plans, and because you got to understand what the rules are. But I mean, nobody can take your education away from you, and it just does genuinely open doors for you.
It's a leveler.
It is absolutely a leveler, and I think in particular, if you can make sure that you not the paper isn't all everything, right? Yeah. It's all those other things that we talk about. You're able to talk to people, you're comfortable communicating, you're confident in your profession, you are able to connect with people and.
But when a student who is 18 or 21 years young, absolutely, I mean, as you mentioned, like you can't now fool 18 or 19 year young, right? Because they are not young. They are getting evolved faster, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
10-year younger son of yours, is writing poetry.
Yeah.
You are teaching your kid at 7 about how you can gamify AI.
Yeah.
And become more smarter.
Yeah.
At 18, I guess they are equivalent to what at least I was at 30.
But they're still quite immature, right? I mean, this is the thing. I mean,
But at 18, 19, the current lot.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess they travel.
Yeah, they travel. Yeah.
I mean, even in countries like India or Asia, now they have more purchasing power.
Yeah,
they are traveling.
Yeah.
You have internet, which is as quick as probably. Australian news are a bit stale than India. Because of the rule. I guess they're maturing very fast, very very fast.
I think that's true, but I think it's very important to
evolve.
To evolve, but also let the kids be kids, right? I think let them play. I think this is a very strong thing in Denmark.
Totally.
Like it's all sort of play based and making sure that you that you have time to be a child. You shouldn't. You shouldn't try and enforce this, and you have times on your side. I think when you look at, I think that in Australia, it's interesting. There's legislation coming in a few months in Australia, banning kids under 16 to have access to social media.
Do you think that will be sustainable? And the more ban you do, the more it thrives.
I'm interested to see it.
Because it's not less than drugs.
Yeah,
I mean, social media, and they have used all the neuroscience to make it attractive, addicted, whatnot.
Yeah. It's I'll be really interested to see what it is. But I mean, I guess that is a move because we want to make sure that children have time to be children, and they're not, and they have the free space. So this is a lot of the talk with this legislation in particular is around, when we were children, right? This might be a tough life in school, but as you get home, home is a safe space. Yeah. Like if you've got your friends in your pocket at all times, there's no safe space. Yeah, it's a very difficult.
We are consumed. We're always busy. Yeah, we are not reflecting. We are not thinking. We are not talking. I mean, see, everyone's on their phone.
Yeah.
And it's. I mean, even if I would be there, I would have done the same thing. But
it's. I think it's reflecting, right, and just spending time in your own head thinking.
Yeah, I guess that's a superpower.
It is a superpower, and I think.
If you can be happy with yourself and you can spend time with yourself, not many can do.
Or even with other people like this, just chatting and connecting, and I think that is a superpower. Yeah.
What's your view on employability and what, let's say, UQ or Australia as a whole, is working on employability as a piece in this higher education, and then we talk about probably, accommodation.
Yeah. Well, employability, I think it's about understanding, what are people looking for and how do you make sure that you meet what people are looking for. And
but what initiative you are taking? If any, what kind of initiatives you've been taking?
Oh, there's lots. I mean, again, it kind of depends on the areas. Like employability for a doctor, it's all really about where do you end up in your placements and what kind of specializations do you do versus someone who studying to be a marketer, for example. Then it's also around some technical skills. So it depends on the programs. I think, a lot of the key competencies is around communication. Are you able to communicate confidently about what you are doing? Are you able to present well? We do a lot of work at the university with students, both domestic and international, around how do you present yourself in an interview, for example. And that's a sort of key, sort of fairly basic principles around have you actually reflected on the job that you are applying for. I know for myself when I interview people for jobs.
People don't come prepared.
Well, if they don't come prepared,
they have no clarity.
And
even at times, even we don't have clarity.
Well, that's that. But do we have, and again, this you would see it more than anything. Like we get the number of applications we get now has just exploded after it became incredibly easy to apply. But again, if you couldn't even bother writing an application for the job, why would I really bother hiring you for the job? So understanding that, that's the kind of stuff that people if you've reflected on, you have understood what this job is going to be and how you can be good at it. That's what employability really is. How would you add value to an employer?
Basics. Absolutely.
It's pretty basic. But it's also,
in fact, it becomes so easier. Earlier, let's say, now I know how to pronounce your name. There's a Google and they will help you. I have your LinkedIn profile. I have your Facebook profile. We are all hyper connected. We have some common connections. There are so many hacks to crack it.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
There's a tool. Probably a pick from. There's a Clarity Knows on LinkedIn. It's an extension.
Right.
It tells you your personality. Right. It tells you what kind of words you would like to hear.
Right.
It's so easy to crack.
Yeah.
But then again, people need to make efforts, or at least they need to think.
Yeah.
As you were mentioning, now in Hindi we say, "Nakal ke liye bhi akal ki zarurat hai." Even if you cheat, you need to have brains.
Yeah.
People don't applying it.
I quite like that. If you cheat and you're an idiot, you're gonna get caught out. People aren't gonna. And this is the thing. If you we can see the applications that are where no effort has gone in. It used to be
You
that
get
they,
to know, yeah.
it used to be that they
It's
were,
such a put off.
it's a real put off, and I think it's and even when you sort of get face to face to people, you get the people who have the energy and who have spent just a minimum amount of time just researching what they're actually sort of getting themselves into. That's what matters.
Right. My favorite topic, accommodation.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I make a living out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that people are not talking about accommodation. So it's been 15 years. I mean, I went to Nottingham. I mean, that's a boring story. I don't want to talk to my audience, but for your, so when I went to Nottingham like almost 15 years back, I didn't get my housing. I went for an exchange program.
Okay.
University don't give accommodation for exchange program, especially when you go to January in UK. And I stayed in a hotel. So that's how I got into this, right? And it will be very interesting that I started university living, with Australia as a region, and it used to be urbanness, and I have traveled all the properties, right? We have to come up with a report, getting attention of everyone. That guys, there are only 54,000 beds on across 42 universities, and why people are not talking accommodation. They only organize 100,000 accommodation beds in Australia across all the PBSA. But there are almost 1.5 million students in Australia, out of which half a million is international students. So what UQ is doing about accommodation, and also you sit on a chair of Australian University in International Forum, Director Forums, right? What is AIUDF?
AUIDF.
If I got it right, and then your view on accommodation as is it a crisis? Is it an issue? What we are doing to solve it.
Yeah. Oh, well, let me start with AUIDF. So AUIDF is an organization that was started almost 25 years ago. It'll be 25 years next year, which is it's quite interesting. It goes to show how collaborative in nature the sector actually is. So all the directors at all the universities in Australia, so all they're members. So it's an interesting thing. I can call up anyone from any university who is in my kind of role now, and if I have a question for them, and we're all relatively close. In fact, I ran into one of them here in Delhi yesterday. We do a number of things. So, for example, we do benchmarking reports. So, help international offices sort of understand whether or not for the volume of applications they're getting through, how many admission staff should they have, and what's the cost
best
of acquisition,
practices.
best practices, a lot of sharing with that. We also organize the Australian universities' participation in the big global conferences, so AUIDF,
NAFSA,
EAI, and API. The big pavilions is something that we organize. We have a sort of presence and a reception and things like that. We do a mentoring program. We talked a bit about how do you actually get into this field, and how do you then actually
your journeys and your experiences, right?
So we all of us directors are mentors. We have and actually some of the previous ones are in the group as well. So I mentor two sort of younger staff, one from Western Australia and one from South Australia. So not in my teams.
Nice. Very nice.
We do. We have a fellowship as well. We award for professional development everywhere. The Tracy McCabe Fellowship. We do, and also we meet 3 times a year. We meet so where we talk about issues and challenges that we're all facing. And in those meetings, we have Department of Home Affairs join us. We have the Department of Education and Austrade. We have the International Education Association of Australia. We have Universities of Australia. So lots of cross-collaboration. So it's a very collaborative space. So it gets a little bit technical now, but I'm also part of some technical reference groups with the government,
committees,
improving the visa processing system, for example, and also some of the underlying technology that we look at. So it's a hyper sort of collaborative
platform
and community, and it is quite rare, I think, for a sector to have all the directors connected in those kinds of ways.
So what are you doing for accommodation?
So for accommodation, yes, no,
especially AUIDF.
So AUIDF. Well, let me. We sort of AUIDF specifically, I guess we talk to members. So I mean, at the moment, if you look at, for example, what we're doing at the University of Queensland, we're very sort of committed to providing accommodation. We're actually in the process of building another on-campus building, SR2, Student Residences 2 project, which is opening for semester 2 2027, which is a $280 million investment in 1,018 beds. And that's on top of what we call Kev Comedy House that opened about 2 or 3 years ago, which was another sort of $250 million investment in about 600 and some beds. We have 10 colleges on campus offering a variety of different styles of on-campus college experience. We also have residences in Gatton that have been there since the late 1800s. So it's a very sort of long-standing commitment that we have to ensuring that students have accommodation. And for us, and this is, I guess, part of it. I mean, each provider has a different approach to it. Queensland being such a large state, University of Queensland being a university for Queensland, means there's a lot of our students who have come from regional Queensland who needed accommodation. We're a bit to your point. I mean, you've got over 1 million students in the country. I mean, most of them live with their parents. Many of them certainly do.
But then by my number and stats and reports, so we have an in-house research desk, right? Yeah. There are lots of students who stay with their parents, but there are 1.1 million mobile students, I would say, 500,000 international students, and then there are another, let's say, 300, 400, 1,000 mobile students. Is that the right numbers? Is that the right assumption, or?
I don't have the actual numbers just at my fingertips, but the finding accommodation is definitely a challenge, and I think it's great to see more PBSA coming in, and we've signed agreements with the PBSAs as well this year. I think there's all of them in Brisbane we work with. So I think all of these parts have a role to play, and I think Brisbane itself has sort of more PBSA beds available per capita than any capital city, really. So we would love to see sort of conditions be made sort of easier for PBSAs when it comes to approvals of new builds, or when it comes to I guess establishing themselves, and because accommodation is a big component of it. I think it's to the point of all the extracurricular stuff, and I know a lot of these PBSAs, they offer fantastic programming. It's not just about a room. It's not just a bed. It's about the friends they make there. And in my own experience, when I was an exchange student, I stayed in a sort of PBSA type
back
place.
then.
Yeah, well, it was a building that was all full of students. And it was interesting. It was 2004. It was during the Euros when.
It's expensive.
Rather remarkably, Greece won that year. But it was in the middle of the night, and turns out there was a bunch of Greeks living in my building, and we became good friends with that. And I think that's another way of sort of making those connections.
In fact, for the same reason, so for the longest time we've been promoting PBSAs because I am biased for PBSA because all been included, you don't, it's hassle free, it's they are expert for accommodation, right? But then what we realized that lots of Asians, they can't afford paying 600, 800 AUD per week, though I would say it's the best investment you can do when you're going abroad and spending 50, 70, 80,000
that's right.
For your degree, but then that's why we have added more BTR, private apartments, homestay, because eventually 50-60% of students can't afford, or probably they get late, or there's limited accommodation, and then they eventually looking out for something which is unorganized, or off-campus accommodation. So now we are very proud to say that we cover from Vegas to Wellington. We have premium accommodation, we have budgeted, and we have long-term, we have short-term. Right? Any question for me?
I guess with that, and I think I really appreciate the work that you and University Living are doing in trying to sort of demystify it. I think it's one of the sort of very practical things. So I guess it's around how do you make a thing that is complicated and different? Like, the housing system in Australia is just different than it is in India and it was in Denmark. So I guess, do you have people in Australia that you work with and on the ground there that are helping? I mean, how do you make sure that students sort of demystify that experience?
So it's been 15 years I've been doing it, and I have not figured out everything. But we figured out a few things that, for the students and their parents, safety, security, value for money. These are three things which is very, very important. No matter I say PBSA, non-PBSA, homestay, they are just jargons. Till the time students, parents are staying in a safe, secure, value for money accommodation in the vicinity of the university, or if they are booking, they know what they are booking and they get the same thing. So from a listing platform to a managed marketplace, what we call, because we are not just booking.com now, we also manage few thousand rooms all across the world. Australia, we are going deeper. We have cracked in UK and Ireland. Now we are going deeper in Australia with that model, wherein we take some rooms with PBSA and we nominate and we manage them. And then we also, by virtue of that, we also able to slice and dice. So let's say someone coming in November or someone coming in Feb, and not only July, they also get accommodation. They should not get a leftover. So these are few things we have built up, and then we have people on the ground. I've been traveling. I have traveled almost all the CBDs and campuses around to and now we have team on the ground, and then with the power of AI, with the power of all the data we are sitting in. So we have built a phygital a way of onboarding accommodation, verifying accommodation, and ensuring what you see is what you get. But accommodation and post administration is a thankless job. We are in the hospitality. So we believe that 9 on 10 is still not, will consider good. We need to 9.5, 9.7 because things will go down south. I guess I know, when Ashwin we were talking, so one of his colleague daughter visited or arrived that day. And then even with the best of the accommodation, I can't name it, but that student faced some problem. But till the time they acknowledge it, they're not shying away. They are saying, okay, shit can go down. But we are there to improve. I guess all of us are doing okay.
I think that's right, and I think that's quite, and you're right. I mean, when it comes to, if you're sending your child away, you want to make sure that they are safe, and I think that's a really interesting thing. So I guess the having the different
type of
types of it's probably your own experience, right, in Nottingham, not being able to get in January. It's a cold place to be.
I'm not blaming because I have built a business of it and decently okay. But not many of my friends, family who have gone and had that kind of experience. They just came back. They didn't say that their experience was bad. They were like, "Oh, UK was not good. Australia was not good. My experience was not good." And then all of us are doing so much to promote studying Australia and our universities and our organization. And we are not. It's all about collectiveness. If they don't have a good experience in class and they are not good experience outside class, eventually we are all going to impact. So it's high time that we all come together and talk about all the issues. Not only accommodation, not only equipment, but everything, because eventually a student needs a holistic experience. It can make it or break it. I mean, it's so serious. So yeah.
No, I think you're right, and I think the it's a you would think now, I mean, with all the tools that we have available, AI, internet. I mean, when I went in 2004, we did have internet. I was on a Skype beta plan. Skype was just coming up. It was actually from Denmark, right? So Estonia. The guy was from Denmark.
Right.
So it was. I still had like the phone card, and I had to sort of scratch it, and it was just a
top up.
And it's a different world, and it's very organized now. But it's also about how do you match expectations, right? So that, I guess that's
there's still imbalance between demand and supply. There's still lack of awareness, or I would say there is content out, but now there's so much of content that who to believe, who not to believe, who's authentic, who's not. So lots of content we've been creating, lots of Reddit, Quora, LinkedIn, so much of content, but now it's about dissemination that content and provide. So as I mentioned, we are a facilitator.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't tell anyone to book university living. I don't say that, oh, don't book undergrad. If you're undergrad, apply to university hall,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then have a further option.
Yeah, yeah.
So we are we are a facilitator,
Yeah.
so that they can get informed decision.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's fantastic. But also, that's at some point you got like, could you make it any easier, right?
Yeah,
Because, like,
yeah.
you got
It's about
access-
value creating. If you're
Yeah.
not creating value, you should not exist.
Yeah,
Simple.
Yeah. And but that's at some point people who are also sort of, it's their experience, and it's even the challenges of coming into a new accommodation and figuring out how to go to a new type of supermarket and figuring out how to even get to campus.
The nearest,
These are all those other so I think it's a lot of those sort of challenges.
This is what shape your personality and the experience, the tangible experience. People are paying $1,000 to experience, because in an AI world, in a virtual world, everything is so easy and it's perfect, because you have lots of filters. In life, you don't have filters.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Any parting suggestion, recommendation, or anything you want to summarize with? We have discussed a lot.
We've discussed a lot. Yeah. No, I think we're pretty good. I'm pretty comfortable with this. Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, it's good to know you.
Glad you enjoyed.
Yeah.
I learned few things. I got few parenting tips.
Yeah.
I got a validation that as a global citizen,
Yeah.
there's so much to do, and there's so much opportunities, and you keep evolving.
That's right. That's right.
And on that note, thank you, Jogvan.
Thank you.
I hope it's you enjoyed, and I know your colleague is waiting for you, so I don't hold you more.
No,
and
that's right.
I'll close it alone.
This was fun. I enjoyed this. Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you.
So that's a wrap, for this episode, wherein we talk about global mobility. We talk about AI in education. We talk about Australia as a destination. We talk about how early is early to provide tools and phones and gadget to your kids, right? And then of course, we talk about accommodation. And I'm glad that people are talking about accommodation. And this year we did a record numbers at University Living. But I'm so happy, not about just the numbers. It's about how people are starting early. How they are looking for more options. They are doing their research. I believe we just closed our last month in August in 2025. The kind of numbers my team showed me, I'm not only happy about University Living growth, but also how parents, Indian students, education partners, universities are now taking note of accommodation. I feel this podcast, this initiative by my team is successful, because I didn't do it for views. I didn't do for news. I'm not monetizing it. I wanted to put accommodation as a issue out there through podcast, through different topics, by getting people who are head of the journey, who are like best of the entrepreneurs, best of the faculties, best of universities, right? Best of education partners. I believe I get more motivation, and I'm more inspired now to give 10x more to take this to global. And it's a great start to get someone like Jogvan on this show, who is from Denmark. He moved to Australia. He have been to Vietnam. He have studied on the best of universities and also represented the best of universities. So I believe we could have got more out of him, but of course we are all busy. He took some time out of his busy schedule, and probably we do a part 2. We can talk about his stay in Vietnam. How Vietnam is different from India. How Denmark, India, Australia education system, ecosystem different. But one thing is for sure, any one of you who is watching it, you are keen to learn so that you can live better, you can achieve better, and stay happy. And learning is a superpower. We should learn how to learn, and we should like voracious learner. In this era of AI, if you're not learning and you are saying that, oh, we'll figure out, guys, not someone, not AI. You will give your own job. No one will take it from you. You will let it go. So don't do that. In this era of, this is the era wherein you can build, you can learn, you can scale. Just don't wait for things to happen. Make it happen. Thank you so much, and keep sharing, liking, subscribing. And as I always say, The better guest, the better content, the better value of this time, because time is the only currency you, me, everyone got. Let's spend it wisely. Thank you.